Alright, here goes my next entry for Hardwoodsman. My plan is to navigate with a map and compass. I'm at a piece of Allamuchy State Park in New Jersey. It's a part of the park that gets very, very little use. Maybe a couple hunters come out here, that's probably about it. I do have a topographic map that I purchased from My Topo, and my plan is to take a couple routes to take a look at some of the vernal pools out here. It's middle of March and we had our first spring rain, so I'd like to go out and check some of these vernal pools, these wetland areas, to see what kind of amphibian activity is going on. So you'll get to see me work with the map and compass, as well as hopefully find some critters at the pools. So I'm starting out by orienting my map to north. I've got the grid north on the map with the magnetic north of the needle, and I'm right here at the end of Fire Tower Road, where you can see a touch of yellow. And the first thing I'd like to do is check out this 95-mile tree lookout tower, this fire tower. Just a moment, Ollie. So it looks to be almost exactly 0 degrees north, but let's check it out. So it looks to be about 8 degrees north, and I do have a declination of 12 degrees west. So I have to add 12 to 8. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to travel 20 degrees northeast to get to the fire tower. When the magnetic north is west of true north, the declination is negative. So that's why I added the declination amount to the bearing that I derived. So I've got my my line of travel, and I'm going to go ahead and start my pace counts up to the fire tower. I'm measuring up. You can see I've got my my ruler here. Got 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inches. So I can use that measurement with the scale here to determine how many paces I'll need. My pace is about 5 feet, so 100 paces is 500 feet. The map shows 1/2 inch is 1/10 of a mile, and 1/10 of a mile is 528 feet, or about 106 paces for me. So the distance is 3/10ths of a mile, since I've got 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, 1.5 inches. So that equals 3/10ths of a mile. So I calculated 528 feet times 3 equals 1,584 feet to the fire tower. Now, since my pace count is 5, I can divide that number by 5 to figure out that I need to do 316.8 paces to the fire tower. So that's how I'll figure out my pace count, along with my bearing, to make it to the fire tower to get this started. So I've got red in the shed. I'm looking through the hole there to find a line of sight. There's a tree out there that I recognize clearly that I'm going to aim towards, and then I'll just continue to take bearings and keep my pace count until I make it to the fire tower. Check this out. This here, one of the first logs that I flipped, and there was a spotted salamander hanging out underneath. So we had our first warm rains a few days ago, and all the critters, the vernal pool critters, are heading downhill from the uplands to these aquatic habitats. And so I don't know if this critter already made it to the pool. It's possible that it already made it to the pool and finished its mating, and now it's heading back uphill, or maybe it's still on its way. But it didn't take long. You find the right habitat, and then you find these amazing critters. It's hard to keep a pace count when the terrain gets thick like this. In the open areas, of course, it's much easier. But when I'm walking through this thick brush, steep terrain, swampy terrain, a little bit with a lopsided pack with a dog pulling me, it's hard for me to use those pace counts. They're really just marginally accurate. So I'm really just using them to add a bit of accuracy to my navigation. I'm really more so I'm using terrain association, and there's so much terrain, different contours here that I'm able to just navigate by studying that map and maintaining my bearing, especially with these semi-short distances that I'm shooting. All right, I made it to my first checkpoint, the fire tower. I made it to the fire tower here. And I want to go over to these pools here. So it looks like I have a bearing of 70 degrees to get to the pools. I can add 12, so I'll take a bearing of 82 degrees northeast to find the wetland area here. And my plan is to then check these wetlands out and then come over to the wetlands here. And then there's, looks like there's a saddle here. I could come through the saddle and then check out this square pool that should be promising. And about at that time it should be getting a bit dark, so maybe the peepers and the wood frogs will be chorusing, and it'll be quite loud and interesting to see. The distance measured was about 2 1/4 inches, which equals half a mile. A whole lot of spotted wintergreen out here. You can see in this pool, these are all spermatophores. So the males come to the pools first, they drop their spermatophore. Hopefully they do a dance and the female picks it up right after, but sometimes they'll just leave it behind. And then the female will pick that up with her cloaca, fertilize the eggs, then drop the eggs in the pool where the eggs will be on their own to metamorphose. That's the spring peeper that we were hearing. There's a bit of skunk cabbage coming up. More skunk cabbage. Here's our next checkpoint. So we've made it to the big pools here. And they sure are big, bigger than I thought. I thought they would just be really, really swampy, but that definitely is some open water, as clearly it's pictured on the map. And I'll lift the camera up. Check this out. This is a massive swamp here. Big enough I could launch a canoe in there. Okay, my next checkpoint is from these pools to these pools. So I've got my map oriented, and I'm gonna create a line of travel from where I am. Okay. Looks like 310. So with the declination I'll add 12. 322. And then I can take my my bearing. Here looks like a couple old oyster mushrooms. Naturally dehydrated, right? A bit of horse's hoof growing on a dead black birch. Ouch, looks like a downy woodpecker didn't make it. Called Christmas fern. Kind of looks like a Christmas stocking, right? And it's evergreen. It'll be green even during the Christmas time. So we call this one Christmas fern. Found a few of these. It's a downy rattlesnake plantain. It's an orchid. Looks like the pilleated woodpeckers have been busy. Maybe you can see a couple little bits of carpenter ants in there. There's a bit of wintergreen. There's even still a berry on there. Nature's tic-tac, right? Look at all this chicken of the woods that rotted out. Wow. That would have been quite a feast if I had found it. All right, here we are. We're on the the side of the wetland here, facing south. A whole lot of greenbrier, or catbrier if you want to call it that, really surrounding the whole swamp. Those prickers kind of look like candy corn, right? Here's a leadback salamander. Lungless salamander. They don't go to the pools. They just hang out in the forest. They breathe through their skin. They mate and lay their eggs underneath these logs here. Alright, so I came from where my thumb is to the swamp here and followed the swamp all the way down to where the saddle is in between. So now I'm walking in between this saddle. I'm shooting a bearing of 80 degrees northeast to find that square-shaped pool. About another 100 paces and I should see that pool, or really right over this ridge line I'll see the pool. Somebody had a party. Wow, look at this. Black bear skull. Huh. Checking out the pool over here and walked right up on a giant black bear skull. That's the biggest skull I've ever seen. Look at these teeth. Oops, one came out. Totally worn down. Whoa. Wow. Can you believe that? That'll be a neat souvenir. Never seen teeth that worn down. It's crazy. Wood frog eggs. Watercress. That's an edible. There's an eastern newt, red-spotted newt. They're going to drown her. Wood ducks. Oh, they're very finicky. Male and female. Absolutely beautiful. That's the drake, the male. And there's the female. I scooped some up. Ooh, there's a pregnant female. Oh, whoops. Pregnant female. Gravid female. You can see her belly swollen. Definitely you can see that in comparison to the male. Here's the male. Trying to be so gentle that I keep dropping them. But there's the male. Looks like we got some amplexus going on. Those are wood frogs. And the male actually squeezes the female, hoping that she'll release her eggs so he can fertilize them externally. So you've got the male on top, the female on the bottom. Oh, is that three? I think there's three of them there. That's a lot of wood frog eggs. All right, made it back to the square pool, and now I just have one more bearing to make it to my vehicle. So I'm right up almost on this this little elevation gain right there. You can hear the peepers behind me, a couple wood frogs quacking. started at the parking area, went up to the fire tower, went over to these big wetlands here, the big pool we saw, almost a lake. Set over here, came up over the ridge here, checked out the pools here, really swamp, pretty thick brushy swamp. And then I came through the opening here and then shot a bearing to the square-shaped pool here. So just one more to go, back down. But I'm going to hang out here a bit and look around. I just have one final bearing, and that's 152 degrees southeast, and that'll take me to the vehicle. $11 grams of protein, bacon and cranberry with bison meat. Can't complain about that. And I have a little oatmeal. Hey Ollie. That's a tired dog. Alright, I got my oatmeal, I got that last bearing to take. And I'll be able to head right back to my vehicle. On my way back, I'm going to come back out a little later and see what the nighttime activity is in the pools, but I got to feed the dog and maybe give him a little bit of a rest. So I'll be back out a little later. Hopefully I'll leave you guys with just a couple quick clips of whatever it is that I can find, whatever activity is going on in the pools. Let me know how I did, and thanks for watching. Taking one last bearing, and clearly, you know, I'm already on the one existing trail. I can just about see my vehicle, and I can tell that my bearing is accurate. That's a good feeling. So there's the vehicle. Thanks for watching. Appreciate any feedback, and thanks Iz. Spring peeper. Wood frog.